folks need to understand there was an SMA permit application. This commission denied it. It then, typical, the applicant went and appealed the decision. Okay? So now the commission is in this place of having to respond to what the judge wants. It's not back here because the commission wants to reopen anything. It's back here because the judge ordered something to be relooked at. Okay? So I want folks to be clear about the commission is trying to respond to what the judge ordered while trying to support why they came to that decision several months ago. Okay?
The judge said don't talk about Pi'ilani's use of plastic bottles, but I'm not talking about the use of plastic bottles. The problem is Pi'ilani abdicating all responsibility for the bottles after they sell them and get their return on them. Comment from the State Office of Planning talking about the aquifer. They said it was fresh, irreplaceable, and highly vulnerable to contamination. Regarding public trust, if Pi'ilani is not harming the public trust, I wonder why there was just zero public testimony in support and, of course, tremendous public testimony in opposition. There was also opposition from Native Hawaiian leaders, which brings us to cultural impacts. And for some Native Hawaiians, the water has spiritual qualities. And as Claudia Roars pointed out, Pi'ilani is trying to exploit that and market it.
I come from Pepekio, Makahanaloa. My name is Jarek Medeiros Garcia. I thought this issue was solved already. For real, we're back here at the table again. But I just here to oppose anything against these. Whatever this Pi'ilani water bottling company wants to do, I don't know if you guys realize, but that is conservation land. I don't know how they would get a permit to build anything in some place that's going to be flooding or king tides, putting our county responsible for allowing these things to happen. I noticed that right behind our county building, with this big rain that we just had, by the cultural center, 2 feet of water. The parking lot was on that goes all the way back. I mean, I don't think this is a good idea in the first place. We didn't want to tap into any aquifer or any freshwater spring that might be. We do not have a good recycling program here on the island. It's just, this doesn't make sense. I don't know why we'd be at this table again, but once again, mahalo for you guys' time. Thank you for what you guys all do for us, our communities, and mahalo.
I think we're not looking at the cumulative impacts correctly. I think as you draw down from the existing aquifer in that area, there is an adverse impact that is occurring in the Wailoa Pond and the river system. As more and more fresh water is drawn out, less and less water is exiting the Wailoa Pond and the river system, and therefore is causing that waterway right next to Suisun to get shallower and shallower. When I was growing up in the 80s and in the 70s, I used to see millions and millions of water used to just rush right out Suisun, that area. So with that much volume, that much water that was rushing out, it would keep that exit or area clear of the sand. Now you can see that there's less and less water going out, so now the sand is coming back in because of the wave action. There's nothing to push it out anymore because you are drawing too much out of the aquifer.
We know now it's unenforceable. A special noise condition is unenforceable. The Community Noise Reference Manual says that it harms wildlife. I personally see the nene fly in every afternoon to feed in Wailoa, in Waikea Pond there, because they don't have enough food where they're living. The noise, it's harmful for human health. They talk about violence. So you're actually making it more dangerous for people to go to that park if there's incessant noise nearby, because people get irritated and lash out and start fights. I testified to all of this, and don't laugh at me. I don't laugh at you.
I'm not laughing at you, I'm actually agreeing with you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, I live near a beach park. There's a lot of violence, and it happens for various reasons. But one reason in this noise manual is that people get more angry when they're around incessant noise. So if you would please add into this another section under the public trust doctrine, because Article 11, Section 1 protects the beauty and natural environment of public land.
The court basically said, I'm going to give you another chance to convince me that you've got this right and that the denial is appropriate. I've told you what needs to be fixed. I've given you examples. I'm giving you 2 more instructions. You can't rely on the use of plastic, and you've got to make clear findings that I can follow, and you've got to make them from the existing record. And if you can't get those kind of findings that would actually support the denial from the existing record, then the only thing you can do is reverse the original decision and grant the permit. It's essentially what the court said.
All this here is the previous testimony when we heard this case previously before it was sent back to us. None of this has changed in terms of the public trust and what people are concerned about in terms of water in Hawaii. All this has been discussed in here. I could go on, but I won't. But based on this, we as a commission have a responsibility to the public trust, and that public trust, my understanding, is something that has come from way back in ancient Hawaii. The Ali'i had a public trust to be sure when they set up Ahupua'a that the people had the water, the food, the resources to survive. As when the overthrow happened, that public trust, I don't know if it slipped by the people that did the overthrow, but that public trust sifted through that time and is now part of the State of Hawaii Constitution. And I don't mean to minimize or compare myself to an Ali'i, but Governor Ige, Mayor Kim, we sitting on the commission are now in that position of having to determine what's best overall for the public, and to allow the water of Hawaii to be taken as if it were oil or a resource to make money off of is not in the public trust best interest. Based on that, I encourage my fellow commissioners to come along on this ride up the court system and back down if that's what it takes. But we need to stand for the public. And these are not invalid concerns. They're not written by doctors or scientists, but people who live here. And as has been stated 100 times, water is life. Why is the most used word in the whole Hawaiian language, and there's a reason for it. Anyway, that's why I think we need to keep pushing this. Thank you.